Welcome to a podcast capturing the antics of two geeks who talk about video game culture and influence, both old and new, all through chaotic banter and tangential tangents that make no sense. My name is Mask.
Son of a...
This is my pal Red. And together we make the Reddmasq Podcast. This is episode 17. This week on the Reddmasq Podcast, my friend Red is under the weather, so we are giving him a week off. That's right. We are just going to be doing the show with a pre-recorded session we have. We're talking a little bit more about the Sujimon minigame in Yakuza Infinite Wealth. There is something I do want to bring to everyone's attention, though, real quick here. Contra Operation Galuka came out last week, and it's fantastic. Great game. We're going to talk about it next week. But there's an audio Easter egg in the game where if you have Retro Contra or Castlevania or Konami's collections, you'll get an exclusive soundtrack for you to play during the game. Both Red and I highly recommend going through the game with those soundtracks because, well, they're a lot of fun. Also, if you complete the demo, you'll get the Contra 4 soundtrack, which both him and I are Jake Kaufman fans, so 2 thumbs up. Anyway, without further ado, here's our Sujimon special.
Amazing. Let me take a sip of my Four Loko to that. It's the Four Loko I'm drinking is the Loco USA flavor. It is a shitty bomb pop. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And I'm sipping it so I'm not getting smashed on this damn podcast. But okay.
Somebody
Fuck.
once told... Okay.
Wrong smash. Fuck you. Do. All right. I need to get off this shit.
Anyway, we got way off.
Let me just. I gotta get myself back. Fuck, I'm losing it. Okay. So I'm talking about the Kiryu sub stories. Okay. But on the topic of Yakuza Infinite Wealth, I'm still playing it. I'm making progress. I think I'm in chapter 7 right now. And I've been playing it this entire episode. I've been grinding easy ass Sujimon battles to level myself to level my things up because as I have the DLC Sujimon, which are absurdly powerful, and I don't want to rely on them for the actual like sub-story battles for Sujimon. I'm going to use them to grind up my actual users. The DLC Sujimon are like your party members among other special creatures. Like I have a tiger, I have a bear, and I have my entire party members from the first and second game as potential Sujimon to use. And it's
when you showed me those 2 characters, so they're actually Sujimon? So your allies from like the first Like a Dragon, those are Sujimon?
Yeah, and also historic characters, like you can have Majima and Kiryu and Daigo. It's like a bunch of legacy characters. It's just, it's stuff that's not necessary, but they do make it faster because not only do they have really good stats, but it skips a lot of the animations of the Sujimon battle. Like when you win and when you start the battle and win, it doesn't show your Sujimon doing anything because you have a party member in there. It would look really fucking weird to have them act like the Sujimon. Because the Sujimon are weirdos. They act weird.
Yep.
So what I've been doing is I've been using the one Kiryu from the DLC to like do the random battles to level them all the other ones up, because that skips the entry animation and the victory animation, and he's absurdly powerful enough that I can like one shot a lot of things. So I'm using that to slowly level them all up so I can use those for my actual combat. But that's what I'm doing right now. That's what I've been doing this entire episode to prepare for that. But I've been doing, in other Yakuza Infinite Wealth news, since I'm on chapter 7, I've unlocked the job system finally. I've gotten more party members. Others have left, which I won't spoil anything about because that's, this game's still new. But party members do sometimes leave your party. That happened in the first game, the previous game as well. Where as the story progresses, you learn more, characters move around.
Yeah, like that's naturally just gonna happen as your game progresses in like RPG sort of situations.
But the end result is that they'll always come back. I will spoil that much. They will always come back they'll always be back at some point. Just the story needs to progress, though.
Is it kind of like in Final Fantasy VII, where like by the end everyone's going to come back and you get to choose your party?
Not everyone comes back in Final Fantasy VII.
Or 6.
6 for sure.
6, yeah. 6, let's just go with that. Yeah, let's not talk about 7, because there was a new game that dropped with that, and there's also spoilers, and I don't know.
Rebirth. But Final Fantasy VI, yeah, you'll eventually find them all. But that's its own thing. That's the second half of the game. But God, what am I at right now in terms of? I'm like trying to think because I'm constantly getting. There's so much to talk about, man. Let's move on to the because I already mentioned it. The Dondoko Island. So this is basically replacing the company minigame from the previous game, where it has a lot of the same. Like you're running a business effectively, but instead of it all being in menus with a single minigame for like the stockholder meeting, where you have to play some weird whack-a-mole shit. In this case, it is a island tycoon management game. It's simplified because it's not as in-depth as like even Roller Coaster Tycoon. It's just you basically you have to clean up this island that's been like being dumped on by trash pirates. And you take out the trash pirates, you take out their trash, you slowly clean up the island so you can build on it and start inviting guests and make sure they're satisfied by building enough, like getting your satisfaction and popularity high enough by building a lot of stuff. Eventually the guests are like the way you make all your money, because that's how it gets transferred into dollars for you to use. Because on the actual thing itself, you have Dondoko dollars or whatever that are specifically for the island. But as you progress, you'll be able to turn it into actual cash. And the mission, like the sub-story of it, will net you like 500 grand for one time, which is a lot of money, but that is a lot of money for when you first unlock it. But you'll easily blow through that if you try and go for like the top tier stuff, because the top tier stuff, much like the previous game, it takes like hundreds of millions of yen, or in this case, millions of dollars.
Right.
But it is a decent cash flow to start with, and you'll start like once you like max out the island and get everything fully upgraded and good to go, you can easily make like 100, like not 100 grand, but like 50 grand from your guests in actual dollars you can spend in the main game. So it's very useful.
It's like a game within a game, just an Animal Crossing sort of thing.
Yeah, it was very much
whole Dondoko Island sort of like get up here.
Yeah, it was very much. I immediately compared it to like Animal Crossing New Leaf in terms of like how you're building stuff to make the island look better.
Right.
You're like cleaning it up. You're harvesting goods, like you're harvesting rock, materials, wood. Every time you beat up trash, you get materials from that as well. And there's also all these island specialties, which are just like you catch bugs, you catch fish, you pick up shells, you pick up ore. You do farming, all this stuff. Like,
you don't pick up ether, you pick up ore.
Yeah. It's just a whole like bunch of mechanics that go with it specifically. And there is combat because of the trash pirates that are called the washbucklers. They'll try to destroy the places where the guests are staying. And you can beat them off and win easily. They're not that hard. And there's also, that's where you get to the Sujimon Pokepelago, which not only does it have a bunch of things for you to collect while you're there, like there's a lot of fish and bugs that you can only find there, which are very useful. But that's also where you can send off your Sujimon to one of 4 stations, where it's like you got your training area, you got your area where they're making you items to sell for Dondoko bucks. You have the place where they collect materials for you to use at the island, and you have the farm for them to grow plants for you. Much like Pokepelago, if you think about it.
Yeah.
It's literally just like you have the training island.
Which is a great thing to model after, based on the fact that this game is taking place in Hawaii, and the Pokemon Company does not really want to iterate on a lot of their old stuff. Instead, they just keep making up new stuff.
Yeah, for better and for worse.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna... There's plenty of reasons
We could talk about that certainly another time here, but like generally
and I had to hazard it because it's like, as I said when I was talking about it with Pal World, Pokemon Discourse is fucking exhausting.
Yeah.
I also bum rushed the Sujimon battle story.
Yeah.
Which is pretty neat because like it's mostly just a lot of the same thing where you do the Sujimon fights and then shit happens, blah blah blah. You do basic bitch stuff, but once you beat the third gym, things get a little weird. We're like, oh, two of your main character, quote unquote, Sujimon that are with you in the cutscenes, get taken in for training, and then they get kidnapped by the fourth guy. So you send your last main character Sujimon in for training, and then he becomes a super Sujimon, which gets called the Satsui no Heat.
Oh my god!
So because they basically get enveloped in an aura of murderous intent, and that happens to another couple Sujimon if you find them, where it's like the ones that can have the Satsui no Heat are the ones that, whenever you try to evolve them, they suddenly start taking, like when you try to awaken them, they suddenly start taking more than the normal. Because the normal is to get 1 star of awakening, it's 1 sacrifice, 2 is 2, 3 is 3. So 3 stars would be 6 in all.
Gotcha logic.
If they can be a super Sujimon, it gets ramped up to like 1 star is 2 sacrifices, 2 stars is 3, 3 stars is 5, I want to say. I haven't done that one in a while, but that's the sign that one can become a super Sujimon, which they basically bump up another rarity, which is very useful because they're like another strong ass Sujimon you can use. But when you get to the fourth guy, once you've gotten your main character to be a super Sujimon, you go fight the fourth gym, the fourth discrete 4, and he's Joker. He's a wild card. Obviously, he just kidnapped your guys, and then you get in there, and immediately you go up against a chain of 3 Sujimon fights with no healing in between. Like, because typically after you get done with the fight, you're fully healed. Nothing else. It's fine, easy.
Like this time you gotta do these 3 back to back.
Yeah, basic bitch stuff. But this time you fight with the same party for these 3 fights, and they're weakened because you're supposed to get through them, so it's not supposed to be too hard. But after you do that, you immediately go into the boss fight. You don't get to you heal, but I think you don't get to. Well, I think you do get to do preparation, but like you're just forced into it immediately afterwards.
Right.
So you get into that, and then you beat him up. You rescue the ones that were kidnapped. And then Joker comes at you with his members, and they're like, "We're just gonna beat you up now. Fuck you."
Joker's
so then you just get into get into a regular fight. You just beat them up as Costiga, and they're level 11. So it's like a fucking curb stomp for the point I'm at. But the end of the story also ends with another fight against level 31 losers, and they're all like mini boss strength, so they have quite a bit of HP. But like I was over leveled, they couldn't do shit to me. And yeah, I finished that, and I got a super bat for Costiga to use. But I'm probably gonna, before I continue on with the story, because I think I'm at like chapter 9. Before I move on with the story, I'm going to finish doing the smackdowns to get my jobs up to rank 16 at least, so I can use that shit for good shit.
Jobbity job.
Job. Great jerb there, hamstray.
Yeah.